ensuring American pharmaceutical supply chain resilience by filing and filling the Strategic and Active Pharmaceutical Ingredients Reserve. Executive Order, August 13, 2025. By the authority vested in me and President of the United States and constitutional laws of the United States of America, I is hereby ordered. Section 1. Purpose. During my first term, my administration acted to protect the health and security of all Americans, restoring capacity for domestic production of essential pharmaceutical products. Executive Order 13944 of August 6, 2020. Combating public health emergencies and strengthening national security by ensuring essential medicines, medical countermeasures, and critical inputs are made in the United States. Directed certain executive departments and agencies to consider a variety of actions to increase the domestic procurement of essential medicines, medical countermeasures, and critical inputs as defined in Section 7 of that order, and to identify supply chain vulnerabilities. The Food and Drug Administration published a list of essential medicines, medical countermeasures, and critical inputs in October 2020. The Office of the Assistant Secretary to Preparedness and Response, ASPR, within the Department of Health and Human Services, later reduced the top list to 86 essential medicines. Nearly 2 in 5 prescription finished drug products are made in the U.S., including many of the essential medicines. However, when it comes to active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, the biologically active components of the finished drug products, only about 10% of the APIs by volume for the finished drug products used in the United States are made here. During my first term, my administration created a strategic active pharmaceutical ingredient reserve, stockpiles APIs. Stockpiling APIs is advantageous as APIs are generally lower cost and longer shelf life than the finished drug product they make. Filling the SAPIR with also insulate the United States from the concentration of foreign, sometimes adversary nations of worldwide supply key starting materials used to make APIs. Moreover, government purchases of APIs to fill the SAPIR can encourage more domestic productions of the APIs. Unfortunately, the Biden administration failed to advance the goal to ensure domestic sources of essential medicines and the precursors, despite spending billions of dollars on efforts to secure supply chains. Domestic production and procurement did not increase, and the SAPIRs is nearly empty. Section 2. Filling the SAPIR with APIs for most critical medicines. A. Within 30 days of this order, the ASPR shall develop a list in consultation with the agency's scientific expert, the Assistant to the President of Economy Policy, and the Assistant to the President and Homeland Security of approximately 26 drugs that are especially critical to the health and security interest of the nation. The critical drugs, and accounting of existing available funds that can be utilized consistent with statutory authorities to finance the preparation and opening of the SAPIR's repository and obtain and maintain the 6-month supply. For critical drugs, reference in subsection C of this section shall be provided by the Director of Office Management Budget. The OMB shall provide assistance in the Secretary of Health and Human Services to facilitate the repurposing of available funds, consistent with the law. B. Within 120 days of this date, an order is subject to the availability of funds identified to pursuant to subsection A of this section, the ASPR shall, in coordination with such organizations, agencies are necessary, take all measures to ready the existing SAPIR repository so that it can begin receiving and maintaining APIs. Subject C. To the availability of funds identified pursuant to subsection A of this section, the ASPR shall obtain a 6-month supply of the APIs needed necessary to make the critical drugs fulfill the SAPIR, within a preference of obtaining the domestically manufactured APIs if possible. The ASPR shall be put on such APIs with SAPR repository with no later than 30 days after the repository is certified and ready to receive and maintain APIs. Section 3. Ensuring SAPR resilience. Within 90 days of this order, the ASPR shall provide the APHSA, APEP, and the OMB with an update with the 2002 list of 86 essential medicines and medical countermeasures, along with a plan to obtain them from domestic manufacturers where possible, store, and maintain a 6-month supply of APIs for drugs updated on the essential medicine list if they had not already been addressed, and analytical list of critical drugs identified pursuant in Section 2A of this order. The plan be provided to pursuant subsection A of this section shall include a proposal cost estimate opening for a SAPR repository in the United States with 1 year of the date of this order. In Section 4, General Provisions. A. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive order, department, agency thereby of the functions of the Director of Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals, and this order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of preparations. C. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law, or inequity by any part against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. D. The cost for publication of this order shall be borne by the Department of Health and Human Services, Donald J. Trump, White House, August 13th, 2025, year of our Lord.